The much-awaited Stellar Blade has finally been released. The game has been out for a few days now, and it has been the topic of a lot of online discussion. Most recently, that discussion has been related to censorship, and we're definitely going to talk about that in this video. However, since this channel is so new, I first want to give some context as to how the heated online discussion surrounding this game started in the first place, and then we will go into the censorship stuff. For those of you out of the loop, Stellar Blade is a Korean-developed action-adventure game for the PS5. It is the first big console release of a company called Shift Up, who previously only made mobile games, so this is definitely a big deal for them. Good on them. The game stars a female protagonist by the name of Eve, and she is a very pretty and sexy lady. A lot of the conversation online has been related to how she is presented in the game. Her body, the way she moves, the revealing nature of her clothing she can wear in the game, the sexualization, and you know, stuff like that. What really kicked everything off was an article by IGN France. In it, they say, Eve from Stellar Blade is just bland. A doll sexualized by someone who has never seen a woman. So kind of a very, berating sort of comment, and surprise, surprise, the creator of the game is married to this lovely woman on screen right here. So people got frustrated with this article, and this is what kind of kickstarted everything and turned it into a gamers versus game journalists situation. Kotaku released an article titled, Hades 2 is the kind of hot we need right now, and people were not happy with that either. Here's another one from Games Radar. Stellar Blade puts Eve in some incredibly stupid sexy outfits that hurt the game's story, but despite the forced sex appeal, I actually love her detailed design. So the consensus among gamers became, hey, this is a game with an attractive woman in it, and these game journalists seem to have some sort of problem with it, so what the fuck? People are asking, hey, how come Hades 2 with Aphrodite being almost fully naked is okay, but Eve being almost fully naked isn't? Isn't that hypocritical? And then more articles started getting written about the controversy, which just heightened it, and you know, I think it's dumb. All of this started because of a berating comment by a journalist, and then other journalists just kind of piled on and fed the flame, and that doesn't really help. While I do have my own comments on how Eve is presented in the game, and I'll talk about that later in the video, my opinion is that having a conventionally attractive woman in a game is fine. The same way that having women with different builds is fine too. But I also want to ask a question that I don't think a lot of people have asked, which is, how many journalists are actually saying all this stuff that people don't like and are opposing Eve's character? So I looked into it. There are the 3 articles that I mentioned before. There's one by the Mary Sue that I found, a site that I've never heard of. There's one that I found by Inverse. And then there are about 6 or so articles from this site called The Gamer, which is known to be a clickbait website. So they're obviously trying to get these hate clicks off this controversy. And it's weird, I actually read one of these articles, why Stellar Blade's uncensorship isn't cause for celebration, and on the surface you'd go, well, what the fuck, are they advocating for censorship? But that's actually not what they're saying at all. They're saying, why are we celebrating something that should be the norm? It's still very clickbaity though, and that is just shitty. So overall I found about a dozen articles commenting on or going against Stellar Blade, and 12 is a decent number, but not as many as I was hoping for, especially considering that half of them are from the same clickbait website. Okay, so how many non-journalist people are of the anti-Eve mindset? Well, I had to do some digging to find those too. I found a video that pointed out like 6 or 7 comments from a thread on Reset Era. I have never heard anything good about this website. I've stayed away from it for that reason, so this isn't a surprise to me. You know, I'm someone that goes on Twitter every day to catch up with creators that I follow, as well as world events, and I've looked at a lot of discussions about Stellar Blade on Twitter, and in my natural experience scrolling Twitter, I have never come across anyone that said the equivalent of Eve being super sexy is a bad thing. I just haven't. There are a few people like that out there, but they are not even a vocal minority. They're just a tiny, insignificant minority. And I'm saying this because people will go, oh, people just hate the fact that Stellar Blade has an attractive woman in it. And by people, you'd assume they mean like a large group of people, but in reality, it is a dozen journalists and a tiny minority of regular users. Make of that what you will. If you find any more instances of people saying Eve is sexist or anything, please let me know. So that is how everything started. Now, the next bit of controversy is related to some unfortunately placed graffiti in the game. Here in this image, you can see there is the graffiti on the wall with the word hard next to a sign of the letter R with an arrow. Now, hard R in the English-speaking world refers to the N-word, right? And I'm sure a lot of you know this already. Now, this graffiti of the word hard is plastered along walls all along the game, and the R is the symbol of a merchant NPC that appears in multiple places as well. So this was just an unfortunate placement. The developers are Korean, so I can see how this wouldn't have been picked up on. I believe this is 100% unintentional. The screenshot of this was first posted online by a Twitch streamer called Lance McDonald, or ManFightDragon. He says, Stellar Blade embargo is up, so I can finally show you the hard R shop graffiti. LMAO, wonder how long this will take to get patched out. So the review embargo was lifted, and he posted this thing that he noticed in the game. Immediately, the same minute that this post went up, an IGN article went up, titled, Sony says Stellar Blade art referencing racist language was unintentional, will be patched out. Again, the review embargo got lifted, so the article got posted, and according to the article, there was already a response from Sony about this. worse. And yes, on the same day, the graffiti was changed from the word hard to crime, another word that's plastered on walls around the game. And so many people interpreted this as Lance and IGN snitched to Sony, who then got the game censored. Okay, first of all, call me crazy, but if I was a developer of a game who didn't speak English and someone told me, hey, this unfortunate combination of letters is a popular reference to a racial slur, primarily in America, but also understood in other English-speaking countries, which are a big demographic that the game is being marketed to, if someone told me that, I wouldn't want it in the game. I wouldn't want that in my game. Even if people understand that it's unintentional, I wouldn't want people to be weird about it, there are people out there who would go, yo, hard R, shift up is so based, oh my god. It's a very understandable change. It's not censorship, it's just fixing an unintended mistake. Second of all, I've seen people say that the graffiti got censored because people were complaining about it and calling it racist. Well, it is a reference to a racist slur, but the implication is they called the act of putting it in the game racist. So is this actually the case? If you look at Lance's tweets, where is the complaining? He's just pointing out that it's in the game, saying LMAO, and I wonder when this is going to be patched out. He's not making a big fuss of it or calling them racist, and neither is the IGN article. They refer to the text as art referencing racist language, but never in the article do they actually say, hey, this is racism. I think anyone in their right mind would understand this was unintentional, and I'd say that is most people. Not to say that there aren't people who are not in their right mind. This journalist here, Arthur Gies, I don't know how to pronounce it, says, I find it extremely difficult to believe this was accidental. And dude, what the fuck? Are you for real? Third of all, unless Lance actually sent through a message to Sony being like, hey, this is in the game and might be taken the wrong way during the time before the review embargo was lifted, there is no way that he could be responsible for this change. Again, the timeline of events is this. Lance uploaded the tweet, and then the same minute, IGN released an article about Sony's response. Are you telling me that journalists saw Lance's tweet, complained to Sony, then Sony sent a message to IGN that they would be changing the graffiti in the same fucking minute? Yeah, no fucking chance. Sony definitely must have received word from people who were sent review copies, because it's probably not something that the devs would want in the game. Journalists don't have the power to force Sony to censor something. It was Sony's choice to respond to this and say, yeah, we're gonna change this. And it makes me sad the amount of misinformation that is out there about this. Like, come on, IGN forces Sony to censor Stellar Blade?
Apparently, thanks to, IGN pretty much being snitches or doing this type of stuff, it has caused, Stellar Blade to have to patch it out. To talk about that aspect, they're going as far to hate on this game by actually pretty much talking about how the game is racist.
This is a channel with like 400,000 plus fucking subscribers. Why are you lying to your audience? Now, some people have pointed out that the new graffiti crime combined with the R spells crimer, which is also a racial slur for African Americans, which sounds bad until you realize that they're referencing a definition from Urban Dictionary that is the bottommost definition for the word crimer created in 2020. I have never heard anyone use this word in my fucking life. Let's be real about this, yeah? This is just a definition that some random dude uploaded to Urban Dictionary that people are interpreting as a legit racial slur. I mean, I could go on Urban Dictionary, find a random word, and make up a definition saying it's a racial slur, right? The reason it has so many likes, over 300, is only because people brought it up due to the Stellar Blade stuff. Before it, it sat at like 30-something likes. So again, it's a whole lot of nothing. Now that we're done with that, let's talk about the most recent controversy, which again is to do with censorship. Prior to release, the developer ShiftUp tweeted out that all regions would receive the uncensored version of Stellar Blade. Okay, cool. Fast forward to release day, and people noticed that the bunny suit in the game was changed in the day one patch. You can see on screen there's lace covering her cleavage now, and there's less skin being shown on her thighs. And people got upset over this, upset that the game got censored. Some people tried to say that the suit always looked like the censored version, even during the review period, but no, it's been confirmed multiple times that in the unpatched base version of the game, the suit is more revealing. This is indeed true, the suit was changed. People also noticed that another costume had been altered. It was changed so the cleavage is covered up more again. They also noticed that the gore was toned down compared to the demo. So let's dig a little into this. The evidence they provide for this lack of blood is this comparison here. This is the kill animation for the boss Abaddon, a boss that you face about an hour into the game, and also happens to be the final boss of the demo. And this is the only evidence that I've seen of blood being reduced. So I looked through some playthroughs, and while there is still some blood splatter on Eve in the final game, there is not as much as there was in the demo. But then I came across a tweet that pointed out something interesting. Shout out to PasswordSuck2 for this. So in the demo, after this kill animation, that's where the demo ends. That's it. It shows a bunch of other scenes, then the title and the release date. So it's entirely possible that the reason they covered her in blood was to have a cool shot to end on. The same user pointed out that in the demo, Eve doesn't get covered in the blood of other bosses when she defeats them. So it's entirely possible this wasn't censorship and just a design choice. Even then, there's no evidence that I've seen of gore getting censored in other parts of the game. If you do have any evidence or news about this gore stuff, please let me know, because I want the truth. Now, why was this censorship done? It seems pretty stupid, doesn't it? The game already having so many revealing outfits. Like, why would they censor just these two? It seems small and needless. A lot of people started pointing the finger at Sony, saying they got Shift Up to censor the outfits. This is what a lot of people are thinking. Now, while that is possible, I've seen a few people mention that it could also be to do with the ratings boards, the ESRB, or Japan's Zero ratings board. In fact, this is interesting. This person from EA Japan tweeted this out. Septillion Games says this: "What's going on, Zero? The Stellar Blade demo was really fun and absolutely action-packed. However, Zero, you denied our Dead Space a rating because it included cross-sections of severed body parts and internal organs. But here we have both cross-sections and insides on display passed off with a 0D rating. I find this hard to accept." So just an interesting thing to point out. There seems to be some inconsistency. And I think it's also important to bring up this clip here from what seems to be a press conference with the director of Stellar Blade.
약간 좀 검열 저율 버전으로 다시 할 수 있는 방법을 생각하고 계신지, 아니면 이런 이슈를 혹시 지금 알고 계신지는 한번 좀 물어보고 싶었습니다.
예, 당연하게도 이 이슈에 대해서 인지를 하고 있습니다. 다만 이제 저희가 최종적으로 여러분들께 보여드리고자 하는 것은 1.0002 버전의 의상이 맞습니다. 그래서 그게 최종 프로덕트라는 것을 확실히 말씀드리고 싶고요. 다만 이제 이것이 어쨌든 유저 여러분들을 완전 납득시켜드릴 수 있는 답변은 아니기 때문에 지금 현재 그것에 대해서 내부에서 논의 중입니다. 그래서 조만간 한번 그 부분에 대해서 말씀드릴 수 있는 기회가 있을 거라고 생각합니다.
So some people are taking this as, look, it was Shift Up's decision to make those changes to those outfits. It's not censorship. And while that is plausible, I don't think it being related to Sony or the ratings boards is out of the question. So that's the situation. And the question is, how have people responded to it? Well, this is where I get to introduce Twitter user Grums. Who is Grums? Well, they're a game developer named Mark Kern who worked for Blizzard Entertainment between 1997 and 2005. They have a large following on Twitter of 150,000 followers. Grums, who is also upset by the censorship, laid out an 8-step plan to free Stellar Blade, #FreeStellarBlade. This resulted in many people signing a petition asking for the changes to be reversed, people canceling their PS Plus subscriptions, and contacting Shift Up. As of making this video, the petition is at over 48,000 signatures. Now again, I just want to reiterate why people are doing this. This is not because of the game not releasing in certain regions, or because of a removed scene, or a removed dialogue, or a completely removed costume, or a whole bunch of altered costumes. This is all because of some blood splatter in a single cutscene and some slightly less revealing clothing on 2 costumes. Now, if you ask me what I think about all this, I will say that censorship is bad. It sucks. I am anti-censorship. I cannot understand why the outfits or blood was censored, especially considering how other costumes are more revealing. Games these days are leaning more into showing nudity. Games like Cyberpunk 2077. In Baldur's Gate 3, you can make your entire party prance around completely naked, so I don't really know what the deal is. It's dumb. So I'm down for being against censorship. But at the same time, it is also kind of funny. Like, come on, you gotta see the humor in this. All this over a little less booba and a little less thigh. That's not even an exaggeration. The content has been censored from the original trailer version posted by Sony. We as gamers want this content back. We relied on it. Made the game the #1 pre-order worldwide because of it. This is the true game we want. In fact, unlike the people who hate Eve for being sexy, there are a lot of people who think that this whole free Stellar Blade thing is ridiculous. Seriously, you guys are doing this over a bit less skin? And then people are like, yeah, but it's not about the amount that was censored, it's the fact that it was censored at all. And you know what? I wish the Free Stellar Blade guys all the best. I'm not even joking. Like, I hope they can get their booba back. Who knows, maybe it will domino into other things getting uncensored or not censored in the first place. But also, like, imagine what else you could do by bringing 45,000 people together. Imagine all the positive change you could make in the gaming sphere, in the world. Now, there are some things I'm upset about related to this whole thing. First off, Grums got a death threat on Twitter, which isn't good. I don't support this kind of behavior. But then a bunch of YouTubers took this and gave the impression there were multiple death threats, and they don't talk about anyone else other than this one guy. Sweet Baby supporters get unhinged? Guess what? He never mentioned Sweet Baby even once in the video. Why the fuck are you lying to your audience? And the thing is, Grums has gotten other death threats because of this. Why not talk about those too? And then there's all these tweets from Grums. I've never seen more people so angry about Stellar Blade having a strong, beautiful female protagonist in a simple bikini. You are not allowed to have a sexy straight woman. Not true. These people just want to destroy anything that doesn't match their cult of sex. It's twisted. Not true. They are true evil with evil intent and wish everyone else the worst harm. This dude is so heavily misinterpreting the reaction towards Free Stellar Blade. People are not angry at you. They're laughing at you. And he must be doing this on purpose because he wants people to get angry. It fucking freaks me out how this dude is using everything he can get his hands on, whether it's true or not, to push this divisive narrative. So my comment on the way that Eve is presented, I think her body and everything is fine. It's based off a human model, it's fine. However, many times that I've looked up Stellar Blade on Twitter, and I come across some weird fucking posts, like some of which are showing off Eve's boobage and panties, and someone just ogling at her and the sounds that she makes. And like, call me crazy, but I think this kind of behavior would be classified by a lot of people as weird. Like, appreciating beauty is one thing, but why are you acting this way about a woman? I don't know, man, just make of this what you will. And also, I saw a video of Eve hanging off a ladder, showing off the booty jiggle, and booty does not move like that. Even the biggest, jiggliest, juiciest booty in existence does not move like that. It looks like a fucking filled up water balloon. So that's my comment on all of this. As for the game itself, it's a shame that this whole culture war thing is surrounding it, because from what people are saying, it seems like a good game. It's been getting pretty good reviews all around. And there's also controversy over the review score that IGN gave the game. They gave it a 7 out of 10. People are going, oh, well, if Eve was non-binary, you guys would give it a 9. Or, oh, if she was black or fat, you guys wouldn't give it a 7. It's kind of insane, because 7 is a good score. But also, if IGN values diversity in games so much in their review process, then why did Tales of Kenzera Zhao, a game that recently came out that takes place in an African setting with a lot of black people, get a 7 out of 10 from IGN as well, right? You know, I want to know what the gameplay in Stellar Blade is like, and yet we're all focused on what is such a small part of the game. Unfortunately, I don't have a PS5 to play the game on, but it seems like the kind of game I would get on sale or something. I'd be happy to play it. I'm happy that people are enjoying the game. I'm just saddened by all this dumb culture war stuff, and that's exactly why I made this channel, because I'm sick and tired of people not telling the whole story. I'm sick and tired of people spreading misinformation in the gaming sphere online, including here on YouTube. So please, if you want to support this channel, it's super new, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and everything. It would be much appreciated. And please share this video. It's really important that people get the full picture. And if I may make a recommendation to those who want to play Stellar Blade but can't, such as myself, I want to recommend another game that's just recently come out, Another Crab's Treasure. It is a Souls-like indie game that is fun and really funny. I'm super looking forward to playing more of it. Anyways, that's all I've got to say for now. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and stay sane.